At the outset, I would like to thank Dr. Krishna Prasad and the academic and research committee of AIOS, Dr. Rohit, and all at AIOS also for giving me this opportunity. Today, my topic would be about refractive surgery and peripheral retinal degenerations. So, why is it important to know about refractive surgery and peripheral degeneration? Is because the annual incidence of rhegmatogenous retinal detachment is about 10 to 18 per 1 lakh. Out of these, 20 to 40% of the people have had cataract surgery, and more than half of retinal detachments occur in myopic patients. So, just cataract surgery and myopia in itself, add up to 80 to 90% of the cause of rhegmatogenous retinal detachment. It is not because the surgeries are complicated or anything else, but it is because of associated degenerations and a phenomenon called as posterior hyaloid separation. So what is a peripheral retinal degeneration? It is nothing but deterioration and loss of retinal tissue, which can lead to thinning and hence breaks in the retina, which can be either a hole or an HST. And we also should remember that patients who undergo refractive surgery to reduce myopia should be informed that they remain at risk for rhegmatogenous retinal detachment despite the reduction in their refractive error. It's very important because although myopia is gone, but the changes in the vitreous would still be there and the changes in the retina would still be there. So this is how posterior hyaloid separation happens. It happens from posterior to anterior, but when the hyaloid separation is happening, it can pull on areas where it is tightly attached, like a lattice, or along the blood vessels and along areas of tight vitreoretinal adhesions and cause a tear. So in the first part, you can see that there is a hyaloid separation with the operculated tear. In the second part, there is an HST. Because there is a continued traction, you can see that there is a retinal detachment. So this is how a retinal detachment would look on the OCT. If you look at the OCT of the flap tears, you see that there is a vitreoretinal adhesion which is there, which is lifting up the retina. And sometimes it can be complete, and when there is no traction, there would not be a presence of retinal detachment. So these are two important facts that we should remember. So if there is a presence of an HST at the tight adhesions, and that will allow the liquid vitreous to move in and cause a retinal detachment. So based on the depth of the lesion, the retinal degenerations can be classified as intraretinal degenerations, degenerations which happen at vitreoretinal interface, and degenerations which happen in the outer retina or the choroid. So the common ones intraretinal are senile retinogenesis and WWOP and snowflake, which I'll be showing. Vitreoretinal at the interface degenerations of snail track, lattice, and peripheral retinal tufts. It is the vitreoretinal interface degeneration which have a higher incidence of development of retinal detachment. So this you can see a lattice degeneration, which is found in 6 to 8% of the normal population, but in myopes it is seen in 30 to 40%. 30% of the RD patients definitely have a lattice degeneration. It is a degenerative change that you can see. But one should always remember that only 2.8% of lattice degeneration, there will be development of an RD. It means that not every lattice should be treated. However, there can be a formation of a break at the edge. It's not exactly at the lattice that there is a problem. And there is a risk of 1% detachment at every 10 years, so long-term follow-up is needed. So this is how a lattice would look if you do an OCT in the periphery. Now peripheral OCTs are available. So there is definitive traction at the edges. So it's not at the lattice that you develop a tear, but it is at the posterior part of the, or posterior edge or edge of the lattice where you develop a tear. So snail track degeneration is another type of vitreoretinal degeneration where you have a frosting and a patch-like white lesion which is seen in the periphery. This is considered to be a precursor to the lattice degeneration. Sometimes there might be formation of a hole. So whenever there is a formation of a hole, you should counsel the patient that they might require laser because vitreous liquefaction can cause a localized retinal detachment which can progress in the future. So this is how a snail track would look like if you do an OCT. There is a dense vitreoretinal adhesion. That's why sometimes even in presence of a break, there might not be an RD, but RD would develop when the vitreous liquefies in future. So sometimes there can be atrophic holes without any associated degeneration. This is seen in about 10% of the population. The next degeneration is a paving stone degeneration. This is a degeneration which does not require any treatment, although it looks like patchy and it can be misdiagnosed as a whole. But this is a degeneration which is happening at the RPE and outer retinal level. So this particular degeneration, although when it is present, does not require any treatment. So an OCT of the paving stone would show that there will be extension of the outer retina and also there is degeneration of the RPE and the choroid as well. Another degeneration which we commonly encounter is a snowflake degeneration. So you can see multiple small dot-like frosting that is seen on the peripheral retina. So these will cause vitreoretinal degeneration, but however they don't predispose to RD. Very rarely it can be associated with the formation of a hole. So this is a snowflake degeneration OCT. You can see that there might be multiple intraretinal hyperopacities that can be seen, but there are not much interface changes that happen in this particular scenario. Another thing that can happen in snowflake is tractional retinoschisis. So, white without pressure areas are degenerations which are commonly associated with the giant retinal detachment. However, one should remember that it's not all patients who have WWOP require treatment, and this does not require any prophylactic kind of a treatment. Retinal dialysis is another kind of lesion that one should look out for when they're doing peripheral examination, because it can predispose to development of a retinal detachment. Retinoschisis, as we all know, is a split of the inner and outer retina. It can sometimes, the split can happen at the neural nerve fiber layer itself. So this is an OCT of retinoschisis where you can see that there is splitting. So sometimes with the peripheral retinoschisis, there can also be a central retinoschisis, which can, in the long run cause some amount of problem in the final visual outcome. One can also see these uncommon degenerations like a meridional fold. When it is associated with the hole, it is called as a meridional complex. That can predispose to RD. The uncommon ones are oral base, oral cyst, spur-like degeneration, and honeycomb degeneration. So the lesions which predispose to RD are lattice, nail track, retinoschisis, white without pressure area, retinal hole, and meridional folds. So the academy guidelines suggest that if you have a symptomatic HST where the patient is having multiple floaters, only those need a prophylactic.
Sorry for being interruptive, sir. I request you to please conclude.
Yeah, okay, take 1 minute.
Yeah, so that's my conclusion side. So the take-home message is, whenever you're doing a refractive surgery, it is important to sit with the patient and explain that they would require lifelong treatment, because despite correction of the refractive error, there might be changes in the retina.